Welcome back to the final round. Let's get to the latest on the coronavirus as the number of cases continue to climb here in the U.S. and also on a global scale. For that, we have Dr. Robyn Gershon, NYU School of Global Public Health. And Dr. Gershon, it's great to have you on the show. Let's just start with the uptick in the number of cases. We had a couple of big headlines today. Among them, the U.S. virus cases rising by 1.7%. It was the biggest increase that we've seen since the end of May. We also had the headline that the Houston area intensive care units have reached maximum capacity. What is your thinking just at this point in terms of what do these states need to do and what policies do you think need to be put in place to best manage the spread?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's very concerning. Of course, we're all following this very, very closely. The fact that we've had 30,000 new cases a day, almost every day this week, most of it driven by California, Florida, and Texas. We've been watching them since they opened up early. We were very concerned in the beginning. We've been following them closely. We see now that our fears have been well-founded. Most of it, we believe, is being driven by restaurants, indoor bars, young people frequenting those places and being in very close contact in indoor spaces without masks, without social distancing. They're talking. In some cases in Japan, they had a small outbreak, actually a fairly large outbreak, from a karaoke bar where people were singing and laughing and talking and eating and drinking. And I believe, and so many of my other colleagues agree, that this is what's driving the spread. So I don't think it's so much the businesses that have opened, most of them without very little direction, but it's mainly these indoor spaces without face masks or social distancing.
You're in New York, and I'm just curious, number one, if you think New York did a good job and is doing a good job because it's still ongoing. And number two, is there anywhere else you can point to around the world, either a city or a state or country, that you think is got at least kind of figured out?
Yeah, well, New York, of course, has done fabulously. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, I'm a little concerned about some of their numbers the last couple of days, but we went out fast and early on shutting down. Unfortunately, we already had quite a bit in the community, and so that's why we had 800 deaths a day at one point. But we have been very vigilant. And as I walk around now, basically I'm only outdoors walking once a week. We go to the early shopping in the local grocery. But basically I see that people for the most part are keeping their face masks on, certainly outside to a great extent, and definitely indoor at the grocery store or the pharmacy, for instance. But in these other places, the problem is our messaging has been so inconsistent at the highest level. So we have people from the government who are kind of downplaying it and downplaying the face mask use, yet we have other people at the highest levels of government, including Dr. Redfield, who, by the way, today said that their latest antibody tests are showing that for every person that tests for the COVID antigen positive, there are 10 other Americans who are infected right now. Most of them are asymptomatic younger people, but we can't forget that younger people also get quite sick. We've seen a horrible spate of strokes and people either dying in their 20s and 30s of these strokes or else being completely disabled for the rest of their lives. So it's not that it's an innocuous disease for younger people who may be taking these risks out in restaurants. Now in South Korea, they did wonderful contact tracing and testing, widespread testing, which of course we need much more of. And they did open up early, but they've been able to keep this whole pandemic under control in that country. So if you do it wisely, you can do it well, and you can save the economy at the same time.
We certainly can learn from what some of the other countries have done. Dr. Robyn Gershon of NYU, always great to get your perspective. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.